When somebody tells you not to buy something, you gotta buy it, right? Do not buy this game. It's a comedic walking simulator from Kingblade Games, an indie dev from Israel. And, well, at the moment, this game is about nothing really. In the demo, you walk along a path, trying to reach a button, but the developer, who's constantly talking to you, won't let you.
You asked for it. You really thought you could push that button, didn't you?
Although you do nothing, it's actually quite fun, listening to the narrator who urges you to quit the game. The dev explained online that one day he worked on a project, but he stopped after a year and a half because it was too much for him. And to deal with this situation, he made this game. Could be true.
Give it a push.
For me, watching and playing golf is absolutely boring. But I must say, I was really amazed by Golf Club Wasteland, developed by Demagog Studios in Serbia. Still, there's not much to do. But for one, I really like the setting. Earth is doomed. Again. All the rich people sit on Mars, but they get bored sometimes. So they fly back to Earth to play some golf. Here they can get some excitement, because the courses really are something special. You can play next to a glowing cow, you play in between toxic waste, and one time you try to make it through a shopping mall. Oh, come on. What I especially liked was the music coming from the radio station on Mars that you listen to. And it even lets you unravel the story.
Plenty more to come into Soul Show, a show packed with stories and music to remind ourselves of where we are and how far we've come.
Yes, this golf game has a story.
Our first caller for the show.
Dice Legacy from the Italian studio Destiny Bit really freshens up the typical city builder genre with two things. You have a strange world formed as a ring, and you wield dice. Imagine these dice being your workers. To construct certain buildings or gather resources, you need the right people, aka the right type of dice. So you roll them. While playing the demo, I realized that you do need some time to get used to the concept, and in the beginning you will make quite some mistakes. For instance, you can't roll your dice forever. They have a certain durability. And if you're like me and can't stop rolling in the hopes of getting something good, you end up with only one dice left. Yups. If you wanna meet new people, chill out, and don't want any combat, then Fireside is maybe something for you. The game is being developed by a new German studio called Emergo Entertainment. In their prototype, you play a human-looking spirit and you want to rebuild your home. So you travel from campfire to campfire, meet other travelers, discover their needs and help them. A great focus lies on trading items and giving others items they desire, making them happy. It was nice playing something relaxing for a change and listening to some great tones. This game here has some Darkest Dungeon vibes. Deepest Chamber is from the Hungarian studio Balcony Softworks, and it's set in a world where people gotta take shelter underground because of a horrible disease spreading across the land. Now you gotta survive in these dark dungeons and scavenge for resources. And you do that by going deeper and deeper. Some mechanics will be familiar to you if you've played Slay the Spire, but you do come across some new terms and conditions. Some confused me a bit, but I'll guess you learn over time. It's a roguelike, so meaning you die, scratch your head, and repeat. My first thought was, yeah, this game is similar to Lost Ember. Nura's Wish comes from Young Wolf Interactive in Germany, and they told me that Lost Ember was definitely an inspiration, but only after they established the core mechanics, like this theme of darkness and light, and having to solve puzzles along the way. You play as a guardian carrying the last light on Earth. You see a tower in the distance and feel that there is something wrong with the world. So you go investigate and try to light up all the ancient altars on your way, which can be tricky at some point. But everybody who loves solving puzzles will probably be very satisfied with this game.
I am Sarah. I am here to ensure that you feel safe and supported during this test.
Talking about puzzles, Lab Rat from the American indie dev studio Jump Squad is also something where you need brainpower. You are a human lab rat, monitored and judged by an AI who runs these tests on you to learn about humanity. Kinda.
Note the addition of guns. Testers respond positively to games that contain guns.
In almost every room in a demo, your goal is to move blocks onto platforms. Here you also gotta electrify two sides of it, aka making them orange with these lasers. Sometimes you gotta electrify yourself as well. And use guns. In between rounds, the AI asks you questions, and you then see what other players have answered. Apparently, this data gets updated in real time, so you're getting monitored in the game and outside the game. Funky. Man, I really like this view. The studio Neverlane in Switzerland came up with this cool look of deep space gardening. The concept is rather simple, although there are many steps you gotta do. First, you pick berries and combine them in this machinery, which then gives you a new kind of seed. You collect the seed, plant it, water and fertilize it before time runs out, put the finished plant in a pot, and send it off to other planets so they can recover their ecological system. So it's something like Overcooked, just without the cooking. You can have up to 4 players in your space garden and aim for the high score. Honestly, I wanted to stop playing after 5 minutes into this game, cause it's just a typical builder. But somehow I kept going, cause I realized, even though it wasn't that special, it's quite fun. Against the Storm from Eremite Games in Poland is about a fantasy world where it never stops raining. You work for a queen who orders you to go into the wilds, establish settlements, gather resources for the queen's city, and fulfill your goals. You play with humans, but also with beavers and lizards, who live all together, each group having different abilities. Online it says that the game is only about 2 hours long, but fulfilling all quests requires multiple runs. So I'm curious how that'll look like in the finished version of the game. This game is hardcore, so maybe you wanna skip this part. White Shadows is the first project of the German indie studio Monocle, and it's about a weird, dark and very violent place, where humanity is half human and half animal. You play as a little raven girl who's trying to escape the White City. You have to overcome deadly traps and solve weird puzzles in the hopes of being free someday. Immediately when I started playing this demo, I was, on one hand, fascinated by the graphics and by this world, and on the other, I felt very uncomfortable. But that's how White Shadows is supposed to be. It's a dark theme, and you gotta be ready if you wanna dive into it. I was really bad at Into the Breach, but Defend the Rook seemed easier. This game is from 1UP Plus, an indie studio from Australia. You need to save the kingdom, so you play on a chessboard against hordes of enemies, coming in 5 waves. In the demo, you fight with 3 heroes. You move them, then they strike, they hopefully win, and if they do, you can upgrade them between rounds. With this floating thingy here, you can also build some towers. I love TD elements in games. So yeah, as I said, this game seems much easier. Well, the first map at least. This is Frank, and this is Drake. They're roommates, but they don't ever meet each other in person, cause Frank works during the day and Drake at night. That's the setting of Frank and Drake, being developed by the Abnormals team in Spain. You play each character in turns and discover their backstories, like why Frank seems kinda sad and Drake is much more relaxed. You also need to solve some really challenging puzzles. How? Why? What? Oh god, I'm so lost. The choices you make with one character affects the life of the other. You also leave each other sticky notes, and you gotta decide what's on them. This game has a very special art style. It says on Steam that they are frame-by-frame animations overlaying real footage. I hope there's a making-of video available someday. Slender Threads from the Argentinian studio Blights is about a traveling salesman who sells books. Well, at least he tries to.
Hasn't been the most successful sales trip so far.
You are in a weird town where you have nightmares, see strange people,
Whoa!
and you somehow just can't cross this street.
Hey, you trying to get killed?
Your adventure starts when you suddenly hear your name on a radio.
What role will recent arrival Harvey Green play in these troubling events?
Wait, what?
You're now trying to find this radio and get behind all of these strange happenings. I'm really up for this, finding out what secrets this town has to hide and what puzzles there are to solve. I guess. Why is this all so hard? Let's get a big cup of tea. This was also a game I was very skeptical about, because it looked to me as if the focus lies only on loot and side quests. There are some elements of it, but the devs of Zengi games in the Ukraine managed to really let us explore the world of the Serpent Rogue, and at least in a demo I didn't feel like I had to run errands all the time. You are a mysterious alchemist who wants to protect the realm from the corruption. But to do so, you also need to pay attention to your own needs. So you research plants, try to find recipes for food and potions, and you can even tame wild creatures. You gotta do a lot of crafting and experiment with things. So it's not that easy at first, but because of that concept, you really do feel like an adventurer. I kept the crazy for last. tERRORbane, or tERRORbane, is from Bit9 Studio in Italy. You can say it's an RPG, similar to the old Final Fantasies. But it's full of bugs. Intentionally, apparently. Sometimes the developer pops up, trying to fix the game at certain points, and he even gives you achievements for finding bugs. There even is a story in the game. A long story. You'll get an achievement if you sit through the intro. I've never played such an RPG before, so I'll definitely check it out when it gets released. When it gets released.